The Honda Motor Company has come a long way in its history, starting out as a modest garage and expanding into the well-known billion-dollar conglomerate that it is today. The manufacturer remains committed to building vehicles that meet or even exceed the standards. But how did it manage to cement this reputation of its? And where did it all begin in the first place? This is the story of the poor Japanese boy who founded the iconic Honda. Soichiro Honda was born in Komya Village, Iawata County, Shizuoka Prefecture in 1906 and was the oldest son of Gihei and Mika Honda. While Gihei, Honda's father, was an accomplished blacksmith, Mika was a skilled weaver. But despite his family's poverty, Soichiro's childhood was filled with joy. His parents were adamant about the importance of basic discipline and instilled in young Soichiro a strong sense of honor and respect. Honda also inherited his father's dexterity and mechanical curiosity. Bicycles were becoming increasingly popular in Japan during Honda's childhood. Customers began to ask his father to repair their machines, and sensing an opportunity, he decided to open his own repair shop, and this is where Soichiro spent a lot of his childhood. Honda, from the very start, was fascinated by automobiles. He would later recall how he could never forget the smell of oil that emanated from the first car he saw in his village. He even bothered his father's bicycles to see a demonstration of pilot Art Smith's airplanes, which cemented his love of machinery and invention. However, his love turned into a passion when just before leaving school in 1922, he saw an advertisement for an automobile servicing company, Tokyo Art Shokai, and began working for it. In 1922, at the age of 15, Honda decided to leave home and travel to Tokyo to work as an apprentice in the Yushima district of Hongo. At this time, employment was very different than today, and junior staff members were provided only board, lodging, and pocket money, but no formal wages. Nonetheless, Soichiro's time at Art Shokai was extremely influential and would shape much of his adult life. Yuzo Sakakibara, the owner of Art Shokai, quickly recognized Honda's potential, and Honda would learn a lot from Yuzo, who in addition to repair work was skilled in more complicated processes, such as piston manufacturing as well. Sakakibara would encourage Soichiro's interest in motorsports during his time at the Art Shokai, and what started out as a motorcycle racing industry would quickly expand to include full-scale car racing as early as the 1920s. This is why Sakakibara decided to start making racing cars around 1923. The first racer was an Art Daimler powered by a used Daimler engine, and the second was Curtiss-built with a used engine from another American Curtiss Jenny A1 biplane mounted on a chassis of an American Mitchell car. The Curtiss raced for the first time on November 23, 1924, at the 5th Japanese Automotive Competition, and even won. After this experience, the then 17-year-old Honda would never lose his enthusiasm for motorsports. Honda completed his apprenticeship and opened his own branch of Art Shokai in Hamamatsu in 1928. This would make him the sole trainee of Sakakibara to do so at the age of 21. Soichiro Honda used all of his acquired skills and knowledge to expand the garage's services far beyond simple vehicle repair. By the mid-1930s, the branch had grown from 1 to around 30 employees, and Sachi, now Soichiro's wife, also joined the company. All was going well, but in June 1936, Honda had a serious accident when racing the Hamamatsu race car at the Tamagawa Speedway. He was thrown clear from his car, but was not seriously injured. Despite the accident, Soichiro competed in another race the following October. Nonetheless, with some coercion from his family, he ended his racing career after the 1936 season. Honda was becoming dissatisfied with repair work and began making plans to transition to manufacturing. He initially attempted to separate the Hamamatsu branch into a separate company for this purpose, but was met with opposition from Art Shokai shareholders. He originally planned to produce piston rings, but investors saw that the current workload was already generating a healthy cash flow. So, they were unwilling to take the necessary risk. But despite the rejection, Honda was determined to enter the manufacturing industry. He and a friend, Shichiro Kato, decided to form their own company, and thus Toki Seiko Heavy Industry, or Tokai Seiki for short, was established, with Kato as president. Both partners threw themselves into the project, establishing the Art Piston Ring Research Center. Honda would work tirelessly at night developing piston rings, while also working at Art Shokai during the day. However, their venture did not go as planned, and a series of technical failures compelled Honda to enroll as a part-time student at Hamamatsu Industrial Institute to improve his understanding of metallurgy. Honda would work and study hard for the next few years and finally made a breakthrough in 1939. Confident in the design, he resigned from Art Shokai and delegated branch management to his trainees, with Tokai Seiki serving as president. The production of pistons began in earnest, but the product was still plagued by problems. However, this was due to the production process rather than the product design itself. Honda and his partner had a supply order with Toyota Motor Company Limited at the time, but only 3 of the 50 samples they had submitted for quality checking met the high standards. Honda spent the next few years studying and improving his manufacturing knowledge by visiting universities and steelmaking companies all over Japan. After this tour, he gained enough knowledge to improve his own mass production process and supply high-quality parts to Toyota and Nakajima Aircraft Company. Orders began to pour in, and the company grew to employ approximately 2,000 people at its peak. But yet again, a tragedy struck. Any plans Honda had for the future of his organization were obliterated when Japan entered World War II. The Japanese Ministry of Munitions took direct command and control of Tokai Seiki. In 1942, Toyota was also given 40% of the company's equity, and Honda was demoted from president to senior managing director. As they were called up for military service, many male employees began to resign and were replaced by female volunteers. To simplify the manufacturing process for the relatively inexperienced workers, Honda helped calibrate the machines himself as well as create methods of automation for producing their main product, piston rings. As air raids intensified in Japan in 1944, it became clear that the country was on the verge of defeat. Hamamatsu was practically leveled, and the Hamashita plant of Tokai Seiki was destroyed by a direct hit from a B-29 bomber attack. Another disaster struck the company in January 1945 when the Nankai earthquake struck the Mikawa district, and their Amalta plant collapsed. At the end of the war, Honda sold any salvageable Tokai Seiki parts to Toyota for approximately 450,000 yen, and in 1946 established the Honda Technical Research Institute with the proceeds. Type A, Honda's first motorized bicycle, powered by the company's first mass-produced engine, was introduced in 1948 and sold until 1951. However, Honda's first true motorcycle, the Type D, was introduced in 1949, and it was the first model in the Dream series of the motorcycles, with a pressed steel frame and a 2-stroke 96cc 3 HP engine. The Type A and Type D models are both listed as landmarks of Japanese automotive technology by the Society of Automotive Engineers of Japan. As president, Soichiro Honda would build the company into a multi-billion-dollar multinational conglomerate known for its best-selling motorcycles. Because of Honda's understanding of engineering and marketing, the company's motorcycles would eventually outsell both Triumph and Harley-Davidson. Honda Motorcycles opened its first dealership in the United States in 1959. Soichiro Honda remained president of the company until his retirement in 1973. After that, he remained a director of the company and was later appointed supreme advisor in 1983. In 1982, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers established the Soichiro Honda Medal in recognition of his outstanding engineering achievements. In 1989, Honda was also inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame near Detroit. Nevertheless, Soichiro Honda died of liver failure on August 5, 1991, and was awarded the senior third rank in the Order of Precedence and made a Grand Cordon of the Order of the Rising Sun. What do you think of this inspiring journey? Tell us in the comments below. This brings us to the end of this video. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and sharing so we can keep bringing more content like this. See you next time.